So twice within like the last few days, I got to correct some of the official Disney social media accounts for some inaccurate information that they presented. So I'd like to say, Disney, my fact-checking services are available. I have a wide breadth of Disney knowledge and with a specialty in Disney geology knowledge. So earlier this week on the Disneyland Today Twitter account, that is the official Disneyland in Park Twitter account. I have to read this written down from my notepad because I film on my phone. But hashtag, do you know which is the oldest attraction in Disneyland? If you guessed the petrified tree, then you are correct. This over 55 million year old tree was presented to Disneyland by Lillian Disney in September 1957. As soon as I saw that posted, I was like, my moment has come. My time is here. I am the one who holds the necessary knowledge to help correct this false information. So, if you've watched my video about the geology of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and Black Spire Outpost, I talk all about the petrified trees of the land, but then also about Disneyland's actual petrified tree. In that video, I go over how pretty much all of the information that is on the plaque by the tree is incorrect. I'm assuming that plaque is original from 1957, and obviously things like radiometric dating have improved since then. So the plaque says that the tree is between 55 to 70 million years old. So that's obviously where Disneyland Today just took the information. I'm guessing people at Disney just think that information is accurate. However, that is completely false. So the tree itself is from the fluorescent fossil beds, which is in Colorado. And the tree is actually around 35 million years old. I guess to be a little bit more precise, it's closer to 34 million years old. So that kind of information is like fully readily available on the internet. It doesn't take somebody with geologic background to figure that out. It's known that the tree is from the fluorescent fossil beds. You look up the fluorescent fossil beds and it says that they're Eocene in age, and its Eocene age is about 34 million years old. And if you want to know how the tree actually formed, the plaque says there was some cataclysmic upheaval of silica-laden water that overspread the living forest, which obviously back in the day, people knew a lot less about the geologic processes that are in operation. But the reality is actually way, way cooler. So in the vicinity of this forest, there was this big active volcano. So you have your volcanic eruptions that are spewing ash, which do contain silica. And silica is what builds quartz, the mineral. So what can happen is on the flanks of these volcanoes, you can trigger what are called lahars, which are volcanic mud flows. So when it gets really wet and you've had a lot of rain, you can saturate this loose ashy debris and you get this super fast moving mud flow, which then spread out over the whole forest, killing the trees, cutting them off from oxygen, and then they become fossilized or petrified over time. So I hope that I'm like close to one of the #1 experts about the true geologic origin of the Disneyland petrified tree. So I replied to Disneyland Today like, hey, I'm Emily, your friendly neighborhood Disney geologist. The tree unfortunately isn't actually that old. It's only close to 35 million years old, so it's still definitely the oldest attraction in the park, but the information that was presented here is not accurate. Now, the Disneyland Petrified Tree is a major stop on the Walk in Walt's Disneyland Footsteps tour. Since Walt had gifted it to Lillian and Lillian didn't want it, so she gifted it to Disneyland, so it's kind of tied to the early history of the park and Walt himself. So I did go on the tour. The tour guide didn't mention anything like about the tree's age, but I hope they know and like now have the accurate information that it is in fact not as old as the plaque says, and that its formation origin is way cooler and more interesting also than what's listed on the plaque. So Disney, if you need somebody who specializes in the geologic history of anything associated with the park, I'm available. And then just the other day, I caught an error on a Disney Weddings post. So I'm going to pull up the original post from Twitter because you cannot edit a tweet. And so it read, Chrishell and Justin started their wedding day with a first look at Condor Flats in Disney California Adventure Park. we're still swooning over these beautiful portraits. So if you do not know, Condor Flats was one of the original opening lands of Disney's California Adventure. My video about the history of the original Disney's California Adventure is among my most viewed, so I also have a very deep knowledge in old school DCA, even though I never visited the park to that time. But Condor Flats is one of the lands that no longer exists in the park, and it has been gone for close to half a decade. In 2015, they redid the area from Condor Flats, and it's now Grizzly Peak Airfield. That's where Soarin' is housed. It now has much more of this majestic Yosemite forest feel, whereas before Condor Flats was supposed to be like a desert airfield. So I was a little facetious in my Instagram reply to them, and I said, wow, a time machine to go back to when it was Condor Flats is definitely impressive for a wedding. And so after I posted that, they did edit their Instagram caption to remove Condor Flats. So my question is, who posted that? Is this photo over 5 years old? Was it actually Condor Flats? I don't even know how you make that mistake unless you're unaware that DCA has been totally renovated. Like, I was so confused when I first read it, like, Condor Flats. Like, I have absolutely no idea who runs these accounts, how many people they have working on them, what goes into creating all of these posts. But I wonder if these are just like social media trained people as opposed to people who have like a deep Disney historic knowledge. So again, Disney, if you want any of my fact-checking services, I'm available. Well, I guess I'm technically not really available right now because I'm still finishing up my PhD, but you know, check back in about a year and then I'll be fully available. So I mean, it's kind of fun, like when you realize that you hold, you know, some sort of special knowledge, and then you can actually like share that knowledge and help and improve something. But seriously, Disney, if you want or need help creating a new, more informative plaque for the petrified tree, I know this is kind of just a silly little video, but I think it's also important to not hold everything that Disney does on a pedestal. They obviously can make errors. Not everything might be fully accurate. And so you don't have to like take and accept and love everything that they do. You can be a little critical of them, and I think that's actually one of the best things that you can be and do as a Disney fan. But thanks for watching.